Welcome back to the build. If you're new here, I'm building the 1/8 scale IXO Collections Citroën C4 WRC, the 2008 Monte Carlo rally car driven by Sébastien Loeb, one of the most dominant rally cars and drivers in motorsports history. This isn't a Lego set, it's not a plastic kit, and it's definitely not a wood model. This is a full-scale Partworks build with more parts than patience. In this episode, we'll be covering stages 9 and 10. In stage 9, we continue with adding more pipes and hoses to the right engine unit, which we started assembling in stage 7. In stage 10, we assemble and mount the alternator, or the coil and electric motor as they are called in the directions, to the left engine unit we started in stage 5. Some things to look out for in these two stages are: 1. In stage 9, you may want to alter the assembly steps, as I have, to help simplify the assembly of the pipes and getting them mounted on the engine. Stage 10 takes a little bit of diagnosing on how the alternator base, part 10F, gets mounted to the left engine unit. Part 10F and how it is screwed into the side of the left engine unit is different than how it is depicted in the instructions. Okay, enough screwing around. Let's get building. Alright, here we are. We have all the parts laid out for stage 9. We're going to be assembling some piping and the front of the engine. Did not follow step 1 here. I decided to move on to the second part of step 1 to attach part 9B, the pipeline base to the filter, part 9C. This provides a little bit more real estate to hold on to when trying to press fit the part 9A, the pipe line, into the pipeline or the filter base. So just be cautious. These parts are keyed, so we need to make sure we get those lined properly and get the proper press fit in so they stay nice and solid. Here we are checking everything out. So does take some pressure to get that in, that blue pipe. Very tight fit. I think I ended up scraping some of the paint off the pin and the base of the blue pipe just to make it a little bit easier. I was having a tough time getting it to go in. Next, we're moving on to part 9D, adding some more piping to the filter, assembling all these. Make sure, again, these parts are keyed, so make sure you get everything set up and aligned properly to get those installed. And after that, we're going to assemble part 9E onto this after we get this press fit in there. Again, tight fit. Be careful, make sure you don't get it broken. You don't want to break any of the tabs off. Now we're adding another pipe on, which attaches directly to 9E, attaches directly to part 9D. Excuse me there. A little fiddly trying to hold all this and make sure you don't apply too much pressure and break stuff. Just double checking to make sure the keyed parts were lined up properly. Here we go. Get a nice good snap. And it looks like we're pretty good there. So now we're going to take part 7A, which is the right side of the engine, and attach the pipe from part 9A to the appropriate place on the right side of the engine, which was done back in stage 7. Should press fit in there. I may have had to scrape some stuff off. Also, if possibly, I think I found this easier to remove the Part 9D and Part 9E from the filter base to get it pushed down on there. Was a little fiddly, but I eventually got it. Looking here, just double checking to make sure everything's lined up. Again, trying to find a good way to hold this and not break anything. As you can see, I'm fumbling with it. Yep, here we go. Taking the Part 9D off of the filter so I can get a little bit better grip on the blue pipe, which needs to get inserted to the Part 7A. Should get a nice snap click to that. And then I came back and reattached Part 9D and Part 9E, the two pipes, back onto the filter base. Again, just making sure the keys line up. Get a good snap. Just testing everything again, make sure it gets on there. Nope, still giving me fits. After messing around, I finally got it. Took some finagling, but a little fiddly to play with, but it eventually works nice. So just take your time. Don't apply too much pressure, but it does take a good amount of pressure to get those to snap in and fit as well as they should. So now we're going to take Part 9F, which is a 40mm hose, coming up here. Yes, be careful laying this down. Make sure you don't put too much pressure on parts that are hanging off. Not a good way to put this on. Part 9E, this 40mm hose, goes on to a nipple coming off of Part 9E. Little tight getting it on, using the tweezers to get it pushed all the way back. Fits nice and snug, no need for glue to hold that one on. So next we're going to take Part 9G, which is a 55mm hose, and we're going to put that on the larger nipple on the top part of Part 9E. And that is a snug fit as well. Seems like it doesn't want to go on, but it will slip on there. Nice snug fit as well. Now we're taking the front part of the engine. We're attaching a fan pulley or fan belt pulley. It says it's a hose base, but in the directions, but it is actually a pulley there, and that part gets attached with a SP screw. Take your time with it, don't strip it out, just lightly apply pressure to it and all that good stuff. And there, again, that's assembled. Now we're going to put the engine front on to the right side right side of the engine, which is the part that was done back in step 5. Mistake that is the left side we're working on. So just make sure you look at this correctly, the way it should go on. There is a certain way this is keyed, so took a little ingenuity to figure it out. Finally got it. There is a big post that drops in the part over. This gets attached with 2 CM screws, and of course the magnetized screwdriver wants to pull everything out of the cup. So I get more than one screw at a time. Just take your time. Used a little 3-in-1 oil. As we're putting these screws into some metal, the 3-in-1 oil just helps ease the putting those screws in and helps reduce the risk of possibly snapping the screw off. Snapping a screw off would not be a good outcome. Then you have to figure a way to get it out, the screw piece out, and then also get another screw back in there. Should have extras of each screw, hopefully. We should see. Again, don't over tighten, don't want to strip the holes out. So here we are finishing up, getting the CM screws tightened down, and there is the front part of the engine put onto the right side of the engine, and here is the left. Just demonstrating all the pieces that we put in here and got stage 9 complete. Again, be careful with the left side engine, as it is got some pieces hanging off and there's not a good way to set it down yet. So you don't want to make sure there's too much pressure on the pieces hanging out, like the pipes, so they don't fall out. Just take your time assembling, and as we have it, here we see the engine front put on with the pulley, and with that we are done. All right, here we are. I have all the parts for stage 10 laid out. Here they're giving us another screwdriver, which we don't need. Going to be sticking with my wire ratcheting. We're going to be putting the alternator together in this stage. So here we've got the coil shroud, which is part 10A, and we're going to attach the shank to this, part 10B. This will get attached with an SP screw. A little fiddly trying to hold these parts together as I get the screw and stuff ready. Fat fingers and small parts don't always work. Took me a little bit to get it. Have to make sure that it's also pointing in the correct direction. You want to make sure when you put the shank on that it hooks down or towards the right, not up. So here we are getting ready to attach it with an SP screw. We don't want to tighten this too much so it doesn't have any movement, because we're going to have to attach this to the right engine part, engine unit later on, and we need to be able to move that around so we can make sure it gets the shank fits into the proper mounting hole on the right engine unit. So there, that piece is done. Now we're attaching part 10D, which is the coil base, part of the alternator. These are keyed. They have there's three studs on the part 10D that fit into 3 holes, and they are set a certain way, 2 on one side and 1 on the other. So these are pressure fit and do give a pretty good snug fit. Also, we're going to attach, put that on. We're going to take, sorry about that, part 10C, looks like. Yes, part 10C, and mount that on top and put that on with a CP screw to attach that. That fits right over top of part 10D. Fits nice and snug. CP screw will hold that together nicely. Just do not over tighten to strip the hole out. After that, we are going to put on part 10E, which is a pulley. We're going to attach that to the front face of part 10C, which we just attached. That will get held on there with a SP screw as well. So we'll go ahead and get our SP screw out. And we will attach the pulley to the front of the alternator. Again, fat fingers, small parts, fingers get in the way. Takes a little finagling to get the parts to sit right. All in all though, very nice fit. That we can tighten down, don't need it to move, but do not over tighten. Will give you bad outcomes if you over tighten these screws. So now we are going to move on to mounting the coil base to the right engine unit. Oh, no, my mistake. We are going to put part 10G, which is the hose base, which goes onto the front, gets pressure fitted into the engine front at the bottom right. It's a good, nice, snug fit. Little tight, fiddly. Took me some playing around to get that to finally snap and get a good sound click to say that it was in fully. But I finally did get it. Have to pay attention, make sure it goes in the right way, because there is a fitting that needs to point to the right for a hose. Now we're going to put on the coil base part 10F. This you need to pay attention to. Took me a little bit to figure out the mounting of this. There's a hole in the front, engine front, that the stud on the coil base needs to fit into, and there's also a screw hole in there that needs to line up on the front. Then the mounting part on the side of the engine just sits on top of a little flange that also has a screw hole in it that we need to be able to insert a SP screw in. So again, just pointing out here where that the back part of the coil base needs to mount on the right side of the engine. After you get it onto the front, so just double checking, making sure everything lines up before we're going on. Now we're going to get our SP screw. Oh, no, that's a CP screw, sorry, that goes in there. So we're attaching that on the side. Again, the diagram is not exactly the same as how the part looks, so it took a little guesswork, playing around, figuring it out to see how it mounts, because it looks like that screw goes in towards the back of the engine. Now we're putting the SP screw in the front. Here, getting that attached. No, that's a CP screw as well. Now we're going to attach the alternator here. We're going to have to, took a little playing around figuring out the spots. There's a little rectangular hole in the side that the shank has to go into. And then there's a notch at the base of the right engine unit that comes off the front engine piece, where the alternator base will sit. And those line up. And those get attached with an SP screw. Again, just making sure everything's lined up. This is why we left the shank movable, so we can make sure that it got aligned and we were able to easily get it inserted into the rectangular notch on the right engine unit there. Making sure I'm getting that piece in. Making sure. Now we'll go ahead and tighten that down once that the shank is in its proper position, and we'll not tighten it down enough so it does not move. Again, do not over tighten these screws. Do not want to strip them out. Otherwise, bad results can happen. I had to change out the screwdriver here. The ratcheting one was too stubby and parts were getting in the way. Just had to get one with a longer shank on it, so I wasn't hitting other pieces of the engine that are already mounted. So now that looks pretty good. Now we're going to move on to part 10H, which is a 120 millimeter hose. This took some figuring out to look at. That amounts on there's a nipple, one nipple on the outside of the engine there that this hose goes on to. Had to get some tweezers. Couldn't get my fingers in between there. The tweezers helped me get the part put on up onto the nipple up there. Routing it took some figuring out as well. Directions aren't very clear on the routing, but that comes off of the distributor, or off that nipple, feeds down through, and it actually comes across underneath and attaches on the front engine where we put part 10F. Or not 10F, I'm sorry, 10G. So I was playing around with that. Took a little bit of finagling to get that on there. Looking at to make sure everything was routed properly. Did have to pull it off and reroute some. Playing around. Didn't like how it was routed originally, so popped it off at the top connection point up there. Got it moved around and rerouted as it looked better that way. So here I am just messing around still, trying to get it fed up through the other maze of hoses. And come on. Still messing around. This mess of hoses is very difficult to get things through into the right spot where you want. Just take your time. Don't want to pull anything off. Again, once I got it routed the way I wanted, needed to use the tweezers in order to get it onto the correct nipple part there. That's it for that. Part 11 or stage 10 is complete. Got the alternator put on, assembled, and the coil base which the alternator sits on and mounts to the engine on, and also got an additional hose running to the front part of the engine. All in all, looking good, just tedious. And with that, that is the end of stage 11. And that wraps up this episode of the build where assembly was required and sanity was optional. Today, we completed stages 9 and 10. The continuation of building the heart and soul of this beast, and moves us a couple steps closer to bringing this 1/8 scale Citroën C4 WRC to life. If you are enjoying this build, hit the like and subscribe buttons. Click the bell icon to be notified anytime I release new content on my channel. Also, let me know in the comments what you think of the progress so far, or if there are any tips and tricks you may have to share. Next episode, assembly of the engine will continue. Only 5 more stages to go before the heart and soul of this rally car is complete. Thanks to all for taking the time out of your day to spend time watching me build this iconic rally car. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, and until next time, bicycle.